Most gardeners make the same mistake every single year. They plant flowers that look stunning in May, then burn out by July, leaving their yard looking bare and sad for the rest of the summer. I know because I did it for years on my own homestead. I wasted money, I wasted time, and every August I'd be standing out there looking at a patch of dead stems wondering what went wrong. But here's what changed everything for me. I discovered a group of perennials that don't just survive the summer heat, they thrive in it. They bloom and bloom and bloom again, all the way through to the first frost. And once you plant them, they come back year after year without you lifting a finger. Today I'm giving you my top 15 perennial flowers that bloom all summer long. These are plants I've grown right here on my homestead, plants that have proven themselves season after season. And stick with me to the end, because the number 3 on this list is the one I get asked about the most. It's an absolute game changer, and I'm saving the best for last. Let's get into it. Number 15, Shasta Daisy. We're kicking this list off with one of the most cheerful, hard-working flowers I've ever grown. The Shasta Daisy is that classic white-petaled, yellow-centered flower that looks like it belongs on a postcard, and it blooms from early summer into fall. I grow Shasta Daisies along my fence line, and they never disappoint. They're tough, drought-tolerant, and deer tend to leave them alone, which on my property is a miracle. These things will grow in zones 5 through 9, they handle full sun beautifully, and they reach about 2 to 3 feet tall, so they work great in the back of a border. The key with Shastas is deadheading. Once a bloom fades, cut it off. That signals the plant to keep producing new flowers instead of putting energy into seeds. I make it a habit to walk my beds every few days and snip the spent blooms. 30 minutes of work buys you weeks of extra color. Divide them every 2 to 3 years to keep them vigorous, and they'll reward you for decades. This is a true set it and come back to it plant. Number 14, Black-Eyed Susan. If you live in the American Midwest or the Southeast, you already know this flower. Black-Eyed Susans are basically the poster child of the American summer garden. Golden yellow petals, dark brown center, and a tough attitude. These are native to North America, which means they evolved right here. They know how to handle our summers, our clay soils, and our unpredictable rainfall. I planted a patch 6 years ago in one of my tougher garden spots. Part clay, part gravel, full blazing sun, and those plants are still going strong. I barely water them. They bloom from July through October. The pollinators absolutely love them. I've seen so many bees and butterflies that it looks like a little wildlife sanctuary out there. And when the blooms fade, the seed heads feed the birds through winter. You literally get 4 seasons of value out of one plant. Hardy in zones 3 through 9. Number 13, Coneflower. Coneflower is one of those plants that pulls double duty on a homestead. It's beautiful, yes. Those big daisy-like blooms in purple, pink, white, and orange run from midsummer all the way through fall. But it's also medicinal. The roots and flowers of Echinacea have been used for centuries to support the immune system, and I harvest a small amount each year for teas and tinctures. From a purely ornamental standpoint, coneflowers are hard to beat. They're native, they're pollinator magnets, and they self-seed gently into a beautiful, naturalized mass. Plant them in full sun to part shade in well-drained soil and give them decent water their first year. After that, they're extremely self-sufficient. I've had plants live for 8 years. Don't cut back the seed heads in fall. Leave them up through winter. The goldfinches will thank you. Number 12, Daylily. Here's what I love about daylilies. The name says it all. Each individual flower lasts one day. But a single plant produces dozens, sometimes hundreds of buds over the course of the summer. So you get a fresh set of blooms almost every single day for weeks. I have an old-fashioned orange ditch lily and modern hybrids in every color imagine. Deep burgundy, pale yellow, peachy orange. The color range is just stunning. These things are nearly indestructible. They handle heat, humidity, clay soil, sandy soil, drought, and neglect. They still put on a show every summer without fail. Zones 3 through 9, full sun to part shade. Divide every 3 to 4 years to refresh bloom production. If you're just starting your homestead garden, start with daylilies. Number 11, Salvia. Salvia might be the most underrated perennial on this entire list. They are elegant, long-blooming, and built for the long haul. Salvia nemorosa, varieties like May Night and Caradonna, put out tall spikes of deep violet-blue flowers starting in late spring. Cut them back and they rebloom. Cut them back again and they rebloom a third time. I get flowers on my salvias from May all the way through October. They're drought-tolerant and deer-resistant. The bees are absolutely obsessed with them. My hive works my salvia bed all summer long. If you run bees, perennial salvia is one of the best investments you can make. Number 10, catmint. Catmint is one of those plants that makes the whole garden look better. It has this soft, billowing habit with silver-green leaves. I use catmint as an edger along my main garden path, and it softens everything. It spills over the edges in this really natural, relaxed way that feels intentional. And yes, cats love it. If you have cats, they may roll around in it. It doesn't kill the plant, it bounces back. It's incredibly pollinator friendly. Bees and butterflies are constantly working the flowers. Cut it back by half after the first bloom cycle in early summer, and it'll come roaring back for the rest of the season. Number 9, blanket flower. Blanket flower is one of the longest blooming perennials on the entire planet. I'm not exaggerating. Given the right conditions, these will bloom from late spring until hard frost. That's up to 7 months of color. They have a daisy-like form and long stems. Blanket flower is a native of the Great Plains. Sandy or dry, poor soil? It's happy. It actually struggles in rich, moist soil. Too much fertility, and it gets floppy. Give it lean conditions. One caveat, they are often short-lived perennials, lasting 2 or 3 years, but they self-seed reliably, so new plants pop up to replace the old ones. Zones 3 through 9. Number 8, yarrow. Yarrow is another native plant that has been growing on American soil for centuries, and for good reason. It's beautiful and tough. I grow it in several spots. Some is the old-fashioned white native variety I use medicinally, as a wound herb and fever remedy, but I also have ornamental yellow and rose varieties. Yarrow handles drought like nothing else. Once established, it barely needs water. It spreads by underground runners, which means it fills in gaps over time. Full sun, zones 3 through 9. Cut the flowers for arrangements or dry them. They hold color beautifully when dried, and I use them in wreaths through the winter. This plant earns its keep many times over. Number 7, balloon flower. I put the balloon flower on this list because it's one of those plants that stops people in their tracks. Kids absolutely love them. The buds inflate like little balloons before they pop open into these perfect 5-pointed star flowers in blue, purple, white, or pink. It blooms through early fall. These are long-lived perennials. A well-established clump can live for 30 years without needing to be divided. It's slow to emerge in spring, so mark your plants well. Zones 3 through 8. One practical note, don't cut them for bouquets without searing the stem ends first. The stems bleed a milky sap. Sear the cut ends and your flowers will last nicely. Number 6, bee balm. If there is one plant that has transformed the pollinator activity on my homestead more than any other, it's bee balm. The hummingbirds, the bumblebees, the butterflies, they descend on my bee balm patch like it's a 5-star restaurant. Watching that happen is a great joy. It blooms into fall. It does spread by underground runners. I divide mine every 2 or 3 years to keep it in bounds and share it with neighbors. Choose mildew-resistant varieties like Jacob Klein, zones 4 through 9. And yes, it's edible and medicinal. The leaves make a wonderful tea with a flavor reminiscent of bergamot. That's actually where Earl Grey tea gets its name from. Number 5, Coreopsis. Coreopsis, also called tick seed, is one of the cheeriest flowers I grow. It has fine, thread-like foliage. It produces an absolute explosion of small, bright yellow flowers from early summer through fall. It almost looks like a cloud of tiny suns floating over your garden. I love moonbeam. Coreopsis is native, drought-tolerant, and heat-tolerant. It does best in full sun and well-drained soil. In rich, moist conditions, it can get floppy, so lean soil suits it just fine. Zones 3 through 9. Number 4, Gora. Gora might be the most graceful plant on this list. It has long, wiry stems that sway in the breeze and small white or pink flowers. It's graceful. I love Gora because it adds movement. Most perennials are relatively static. They bloom and they sit there. Gora dances. Slender stems catch the slightest bit of air. It blooms until hard frost. It's incredibly drought tolerant. Native to Texas, it evolved in tough, dry conditions and prefers it that way. Give it full sun, well-drained soil, and lean conditions. It's stunning. Number 3, Agastache. The one you've been waiting for. This is the one I get more questions about than anything else. The game changer. Agastache, also called hummingbird mint. I planted my first one 4 years ago, and within 1 season, the hummingbird activity tripled. I went from seeing one every few days to 4 or 5 every morning. It was like turning on a switch. It blooms for months, it's drought tolerant, it's deer resistant, it smells incredible. A warm, anise fragrance. The leaves and flowers are edible and look stunning in salads. It pulls triple duty. Varieties I love: Blue Fortune, Apache Sunset, and the Kudos series. Full sun, well-drained soil, zones 5 through 10. If you plant just one thing from this entire list, let it be Agastache. You will not regret it. Number 2, Penstemon. Penstemon produces tall spikes of tubular flowers in white, pink, red, and purple. Hummingbirds are absolutely drawn to them. I grow several varieties. Husker Red is particularly striking with deep burgundy foliage that contrasts beautifully with its white flowers. It's beautiful all season long, even when not in bloom. Zones 3 through 8. Penstemon is tough, drought-tolerant, and deer-resistant. It prefers full sun and well-drained soil. In heavy clay, raise the bed slightly. Drainage is the key to keeping them healthy. If you want a conversation starter, plant Penstemon. Number 1. Russian Sage. Russian sage is a plant that earns its spot in the landscape every single day from late June through October. This is my absolute champion. It sends up tall, airy stems covered in tiny lavender blue flowers. The whole plant glows with this luminous, violet blue haze that is absolutely stunning in the summer garden. It checks every single box. It combines beautifully with everything. Yellow rudbeckia, white daisies, red coneflowers. Everything looks better next to Russian sage. It pulls a whole planting together and makes it look designed. It handles heat and poor soil. The toughness is extraordinary. I have plants that haven't been watered in 2 years, and they come back bigger and more beautiful every spring. It handles clay, rocky soil. It genuinely doesn't care. It's a pollinator magnet. The silver white stems are beautiful even in winter. In early spring, you cut it back hard, down to about 6 inches, and it explodes with new growth. It's one of the most satisfying garden tasks of the whole year. Full sun only. Russian sage is my number 1. It's drought-tolerant, deer-resistant, pollinator-friendly, and beautiful. Start your perennial garden today and enjoy the blooms all summer long.